Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Chelsea and I am your friendly neighborhood CMPC, or Certified Mental Performance Consultant. I'm also a certified personal trainer and I've been in the military for almost 13 years now, so we count that. Today is going to be a little bit different. We're going to do a different installment here. It's going to be CMPC Reacts, and I have my brother Kyle joining me today. Welcome, Kyle. What's up?
How's it going?
Going good, going good. So this is his first time doing this with me, and my first time. So cut us some slack as we go here, but it should be pretty fun. So Kyle, tell us about yourself.
So as far as like mental skills go, I'm a parent. I have kids, so dealing with kids and being a parent, just everything that involves that, it takes lots of patience, lots of endurance, compassion, just all the things that involve raising kids and dealing with kid issues and things like that. I also work. I work for a car detailing business, and I work with a high schooler. And I'm in my 30s, and he's 17. So there's a lot of again patience that has to come with working with a high schooler. So yeah, I have kind of a broad range of things. I was an athlete in school when I was in high school, and I had a parent who was a coach as well. So obviously, being an athlete, dealing with coaches is difficult as it is when you're in high school, but also then having your. So, anyways, yeah, that's kind of my little spiel.
Cool. Yeah. So Kyle is my older brother. We're only 14 months apart, so we're really not super far in age. So yeah, he did football and then track and field in high school, and I played basketball mostly with some other sports kind of scattered in there. And our dad was a coach and also involved in pretty much all of the athletics. So we were kind of double teamed, right? Like getting it from the coaches and the other athletes, the pressure to perform for the team. And then our dad, who was a very high level runner in his day, was also pretty tough, I think, on us. So although we didn't know it at the time, we're using a lot of mental skills to push through those performance anxieties and challenges. And then I like that you mentioned that being a parent is also mental. I'm not a parent, I'm an aunt. But as physical as it can be and as exhausting as it can be, it's also super mental, right? Like you have to, I assume, know when to like keep your calm and still be consistent with your parenting, rather than letting your emotions take over.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of skills that are involved with being a parent. Most of my parenting up until now has been like little kids, and then a little bit into like preteen kids. But yeah, there's a lot of emotions as kids get older and go through life that come with that. So trying to manage that while managing my own emotions and my own stuff, and work and all the other things. It definitely is. It's new each day. You're learning to deal with things in the best way possible.
Cool. All right, so he's another expert on the channel here in mental skills, living it every day. Now we're going to transition into CMPC Reacts plus one. So let's get to it. Okay, so here is our first meme. These are what we're reacting to, our memes today. So let's see. What do you think, Kyle? What do you think about what's on the screen?
Well, I know you said that we're not that far apart in age, but there's some kind of age gap because I don't know what TFW means. I can't. I don't even. I can't. It's not registering in my head what that means. Um,
Any guesses?
when you go into a game without your mental skills, the I have no idea. It doesn't make sense with whatever I'm coming up with. The free world, no.
The free
Uh,
world.
thankful. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
So it's that feeling when.
Oh, okay. Wait, that feeling when you go into a game?
Yeah, they high quality memes here, but that feeling when
There we go.
you go into a game without your mental skills, you're blinded.
That's fair. This is a good movie though too.
I really like this one because a lot of people practice mental skills without even really knowing that they're doing it. So things like listening to a playlist before you go into a game to get yourself hyped up or to calm yourself down if you have high nerves. That's a mental skill. It's a pre-performance routine. Highly recommended. And most athletes already do that. That's a mental skill. It's priming you to be in the state to get ready to play or perform or compete. So, for example, if you didn't have your playlist, if you didn't have any music to warm up to, how would that feel going into a game? Like, think about when on the football field, y'all had music when you were warming up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think music is very powerful beyond just like we just listen to it for entertainment. Like music has actual weight with when someone is talented in the way that they deliver it, whether it's through their lyrics or through their actual playing of their instruments or whatever. Music has a very um, what's the word? A very like powerful impact behind how it can influence what you're doing. So like you said on the field or on the court or whatever, it's any athlete you see on usually on TV, Super Bowl, baseball, football, all those things, they're always wearing headphones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, locking in, trying to lock in and make sure you're focused and ready and yeah, I think music is a huge part of especially today's culture.
Yeah, 100%. So for you out there listening, think about what you listen to before you get ready to perform or practice, compete, and imagine if you didn't have that, if you had no access to it, what would that look like then? First one I say is a big win for me. What would you rate it out of 10? 10 being the top.
As the meme?
Yeah.
I would say it's pretty accurate. I'd say like 8.5.
8.5. Okay. Okay, here is our second one. Only weak people need a sports psychologist. False. Anyone can benefit from a sports psychologist. What's your reaction to this one?
I mean, I would agree. I guess I've never. I guess I kind of. I know we're kind of sports oriented here, but it kind of goes along the lines of in any mental health care, basically, whether it's self care yourself or it's seeing a therapist monthly or weekly, or it's having a sports psychologist if you're an athlete. Like it's all important because everybody has a brain, everybody has a mind, and everybody has to deal with everyday stuff. And so, yeah, I definitely I like that one. I like The Office. So that's a very relatable. I can hear him saying that too.
I know, right? I was just thinking that it's in his voice for sure. But yeah, like you said, I think that the big piece here is that anyone can benefit from a sports psychologist. This is a common misconception in the field of sports psychology that a lot of people think that only super high performers, NFL players, MLB, NBA, so on and so forth, are the ones that can benefit from sports psychology. But really, if you have a performance that is important to you and you're unsure how to prepare for that performance, that's what we do. That's what we focus on. That can be a presentation at work. You have, I don't know, like your dissertation coming up if you're like a PhD student. You're trying to run your first marathon. Whatever it is, getting back into fitness for the first time in a long time, it all falls under the umbrella. So yeah, I would agree. Anyone can benefit from a sports psychologist, not just super high performing people. What would you give this one?
I like The Office a lot. So it's gonna rate high. I'm gonna have to go with a 9 for this one.
Ooh, a 9. I like it. Okay, this one reads feelings of inadequacy, directionlessness. It's a classic case. You need goals. And he's talking to a soccer ball, which I find very entertaining personally.
Oh, as a dad, that's a great like dad type joke. I like that.
None of us in the family really were soccer players. I think I played maybe when I was young, but I never really enjoyed it. So soccer is not really it for us, but I do think it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I like it. It's very simple, and even if you like you said, even if you're not a soccer player or you don't have anything to do with soccer, uh, it's easy enough to understand, but it's complex enough to not be stupid.
And the big thing about goals is like that's a big part of what we do in the world of sports psychology and CMPCs. Goals are goals can be very complex, and they're a great place to start. I think we grew up doing like SMART goals. At least I did. And you set a goal, which is great to have those goals. But what's more important than the goal is the plan of how to get there. What does the day-to-day, week-to-week, and month-to-month look like to reach that goal? So those goals are great to set in the beginning, but that's just the beginning. It's such a complex system of getting goals accomplished, which a lot of people don't understand. They're like, I set a goal and I'll get there if I get there, which is tough.
Shout out, Mom. Clearly, that's exactly what one of the main things that I learned as far as how I live my life now, even as an adult. Like, how are you going to get there? That's great. Like, here's your current situation, but what are you going to do about it? Like, you can't just have this. I want to get here. I want this. I want that. Well, okay, that's great. But if you leave it there, then nothing ever happens. So now you have to have a goal. What are your plans? What are your steps? You got to be thinking multiple steps ahead. And if this happens, how am I going to deal with it? And so, anyway, like I said, inadequacy, directionless. A soccer ball is not going to go into the goal unless you direct it with your foot and kick it into the goal. It's just going to sit there.
Right.
It's not going to move. It's not going to be going forward.
Yeah. I read a quote at some point in my life that I remember that says a goal without a plan is just a dream. It's just something that lives in your mind and doesn't do anything on its own. You have to put a plan behind it. So our mom is a big believer of what's your plan? What are the steps that are going to get you there? So I think she did a pretty good job of instilling that in all three of us. All right, this one is for you. It's a football reference. And just so you all know, we grew up with like the biggest Oregon Ducks fan in the world. Like literally everything in our house was green and yellow. He's a teacher, and so like you had to sing the Oregon fight song for extra credit. Like all the things were Oregon. So we watched a lot of Oregon football growing up. And Kyle is still a big Oregon Ducks fan. He just took his daughter to her first Oregon game, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
So this one's for you. It says, it's kind of blurry, but run through challenges using your mental skills. And then the smaller text on there says gratitude, which is a mental skill.
So I'm on my phone. So is that it? It looks like the guy in white is trying to catch it. I can't really tell. It's really blurry. And then the guy is hitting him as soon as he catches it. Like, is he? It's hard to see.
Yeah. I think that to me, what it looks like is yes, the guy in white is trying to catch the ball. There's like a kick or something, and the other guy is running through him using his skill of gratitude. I think is what the meme is saying.
Okay. I don't fully grasp the gratitude part, but I get the meme.
Mm-hmm.
I know obviously what gratitude means, but in the context of this part, I don't fully get it, but I get with the picture, I get what it's trying to say.
I think the word gratitude could be interchanged with any mental skill. So confidence, focus. It's just a mental skill that they're using to run through the
Gotcha.
competition.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that guy's getting blown up. He's not going to catch that ball. If he hasn't already caught it, or if he has, it's over.
He's about to fumble for sure.
Either that or that's a really, really bad flag for catch interference. So, anyways, that's a rabbit hole. But anyways, I'm a football nerd, so
Is that what you thought about when you were playing football? Was like gratitude, focus, confidence, all the things.
part of that, partly, yeah. I mean, I've always been really small. As far as for other athletes around me, I was always very small, and so I always felt like I kind of had to work a little harder because I was overlooked. I was way smaller than everybody else, and that's just the way it was. And so I definitely, like I said earlier, having patience with myself as I learned the game, patience with my teammates, but also the drive and the determination to prove them that I can actually contribute, I can play, I can, even though I'm small, we went to a really small high school, and so everybody did play, but I was one of the starters, and so I had to prove to myself and prove to everybody else that just because I was small doesn't mean that I wasn't able to contribute and help. So, in my young years of those early life lessons about how life is and how life goes, and sometimes things aren't fair and all that, I definitely had quite a bit of mental skills. I didn't even know I was using at the time, but definitely a lot in high school for sure, especially playing football with guys that are 3 times your size, and you're getting kind of thrown around like a rag doll. So a lot of things going through my head.
Gotta be high in confidence, even just to step out onto the field in that situation, even if it's fake confidence,
Yep.
that whole fake it till you make it sort of situation.
Yeah, lots of. I don't know if I ever had gratitude when I was getting hit like that, but I appreciate it now looking back. I have gratitude for the times of being able to even play sports, and so it all kind of came full circle. Only 20 years later.
That's how it works, as you get older.
Right.
Yeah, gratitude is a big one. It's one of those, it's easy when you're in the moment to kind of get lost in the weeds of the day to day, either the monotony or something maybe you just don't enjoy about the particular sport or performance. Using gratitude is a great way to kind of bring yourself back to the moment. And, when you're in high school, you don't think about it this way, but now that we're older, you can say, like, I'm not going to be able to get to do this forever, right? Like, this is only going to be a moment in my life, so, like, really want to enjoy it while it's here. Yeah, gratitude is a good one to use in all sorts of situations, but probably not when you're getting pummeled on the football field.
Well, yeah, and even without going too deep into like a tangent, yeah, like you had mentioned, I took my daughter recently to her first football game. She'd never been to a live sporting event, so it was cool for her to see something that I kind of grew up with, and so like it's cool to me still, but like it's all new to her. So even just having gratitude now, looking at something that I grew up, I didn't play college football obviously, but I played football, and so something that I love, and I just enjoyed competition, and then I got into a specific team. And now looking back as a parent, I can say, man, it's cool for me still, but it's even cooler to watch my daughter like something that I am into as well. Maybe that'll change as she gets older, I don't know, but right now I have the gratitude of just saying, man, I get to like experience this with my daughter, and that's really cool. So
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect example right there of just the gratitude that I have.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yay, Lily. This is one of my favorites. When I came across it, I was like, man, yeah. Like, if at first you don't succeed, try doing what your coach told you the first time. Yeah, this is, when I was an athlete, I probably would have rolled my eyes at this, when I was in high school. But as a coach now, and especially as a mental skills coach, this just really hits home for me because, it's like okay, try this and tell me what you think, and tell me how it works for you or whatever. And then it'll be like, somebody will be like, oh, I didn't even think about trying that. Or, yeah, I tried it once and it didn't work. Or I did it my way instead of doing it the way that we talked about. And it's like, okay, well, let's try again and see if it makes a difference. What is your reaction to this one?
It's kind of a like a double-edged reaction because on one hand, same type of thing, like growing up as an athlete and doing sports most of my childhood, I kind of had the same feeling like, okay, if it didn't work, it's not because of I didn't do what the coach said. It was kind of the roll the ice thing. And I get that from like a kid's perspective or like a high schooler's perspective as an athlete, but now I don't do sports anymore. I'm an adult now. I don't have the ability to do sports anymore. So now, like I said, I'm a parent, right? And so to me, I've just started laughing as soon as I saw it because I can just hear a parent basically saying this to their kid. Like, it didn't work. That's funny. Like, you asked me for help and I gave you the answer because I've been there before and you didn't do it. So maybe let's try the way that I told you to do it because I've been there. I see that. I know what's going to happen. And, we can have a better result. But it's just funny to be able, like, I'm not that old, neither of us are that old yet, but it's funny to be able to look back on how I thought as a kid or as a young athlete or whatever versus how I think as an adult parent now. And it's true. There's a lot of things in life that are universal and don't necessarily change regarding, as far as the situation. It doesn't have to be about sports like we've mentioned. And yeah, it's funny to me.
Yeah, this is a good one. I think I actually had a friend send this to me, who's also a CMPC, and we both just had a giggle at it because we both experienced both sides of it, being the athlete and getting that eye roll reaction, and then the other side of it, and being like, man, I really wish my athletes or performers would try it the way that we talked about. And then if it's not successful, then we can always tweak it. But anyways, I enjoyed it. What would you rate this one out of 10?
Well, this one's a good one. I would. Yeah, that's good. I'd have to say that's got to probably be the best one. It's not like a funny meme, but it definitely it hits. It hits right away with the message, and I think everybody can relate to it no matter what type of life they've lived, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The top 10 so far.
There we go.
All right, so another fun fact for everybody out there, both Kyle and I are veterans. I'm still in the reserves. I was active duty for 4 years, and Kyle was active duty before me in the Air Force as security forces, right? Security forces in the Air Force.
Yep.
So this one's for us. War has a lot more sitting and waiting than I thought it would be. And if you know, you know. Military, there is a saying called hurry up and wait, and it could not be more true. The amount of time that you sit and do nothing, or you're waiting to do something in MEPS and boot camp and tech school, and even in the real military when you get to your duty location, is like mind-boggling. And it can be a real drag. You can chime in, Kyle, but like there was points in my military career when I was active duty where I was like, I can't do this. This is so boring. I joined the military to do cool stuff, and I'm literally sitting here on the computer, doing a training and doing that for 8 hours. Like I can't do it. So it takes a lot of learning to be patient and gracious and perseverance to get through the monotony that is the military more times than you would like it to be. What's your experience with it?
So I initially thought two things when I first saw this. The first one is with my military career, it was cut short. I got injured pretty quickly after I got to my duty station. And so because of that, part of my military experience was just back and forth to the hospital. I had multiple surgeries. And so I wasn't able to do all of my job at that time, and so I got put on gate duty and just really like pretty basic light duty work. And so the whole sitting and waiting thing, I wasn't obviously in war, but just from the military perspective, the sitting and waiting thing, that's kind of hard. The second thing that I noticed about this picture is it's ironic if you have been in the military, because when you're in the military, there is a lot of hurry up and wait, but when you're supposed to be somewhere, you're going to hurry up to get there. Even if you're going to be there super early and you know you're going to be waiting around, these guys have like combat ready gear as well as weapons, and they're just waiting, right? I mean, in this picture, they could be in a combat zone. We don't know, but it's just ironic that they're ready to go to war, but they're hanging out like they're in the park. So it's just this is a good one. I like this one.
Yeah, this is a good one, and it's super relatable for my people in the military as well. Fun side note: military is the #1 employer of CMPCs in the country, so we're there with you. And if you are struggling with the monotony or with anything else, and you don't want to go talk to like a regular psychologist, which is understandable because that can affect your career, sports psychologist is a good way to go, because we're kind of like an in-between. And if that sports psychologist has military experience, they will also understand what you're talking about. So there you have it. CMPC Reacts, our first episode, and we're going to have another one here very shortly with my sister on, and we can see how she reacts, and then maybe we'll bring you both back and we'll do it again. But I want to say thank you, Kyle, for your time and coming on and sharing all your thoughts and perspective. And we'll see you again real soon. Do you want to say goodbye to YouTube?
Goodbye. Thanks for having me. Formidable Mindset. Check it out. She's the expert. I was just happy to be here.
Woo! Yeah, check it out. Formidable Mindset, coaching and consulting. And we'll see you next time. See you later, YouTube.